Ladies and gentlemen, questions? Yes.
The idea of using abortion as a contraception, could that be kind of a reincarnation? Because the people think that the same person will come along later out of love when they want that baby.
I never thought of that. Well, I don't know that I would draw a direct link like that, but it is all part of the same culture, isn't it? You're right in saying that we are all victims of this culture that cannot grasp anymore uniqueness and unrepeatability. See, the human person is unique, it's unrepeatable, because it is the fruit of love which creates out of nothing. Since we live in a world of idols created by our mind, such is modernity, we have lost the ability, and we come up with things like, yeah, this is a world in which reincarnation is quite at home, and in which a thought like, well, I'll abort my baby now, but I'll have him again later, is even thought logical. Yes, very good. We are, yes, it's serious. It's a mortal thing, as you see. But as I say, it is the retrieval of these experiences of concrete personhood. The flesh will save us. Tertullian said, the flesh is the hinge of our salvation. Lovely, eh? Caro cardi salutis. And because the flesh, you're telling me, it's always that stands in the way. It forces you to deal with the concrete, unique, and unrepeatable. Yes, you see, people say, talking about abortion, like, what's in the womb? Well, it's just a fetus, just a body, just matter. See what I mean? Just matter. No, it's we must grasp the mystery of the flesh. Any more questions?
Is a necessary attribute of freedom, of love, freedom, so that when God created, the capacity to say no had to be
I would say
part
so,
of that.
yes. It doesn't make much sense. You know, within love must be free, or it's not love, because then necessity comes in. And so therefore love requires freedom. And however, freedom is a risk. And therefore creation is a great risk for a God that is love. See, the German mystic Hildering wrote something called the Hyperion. And at the beginning it has this little phrase. It has it in Latin. And it says, I'm paraphrasing now, what is divinity? What is divine? You know? Well, for the one who believes in the creed is this: to be divine is to be such that nothing greater can encompass it. That's all right. See, there's nothing stunning about that. That's the philosophical God. But you know how remote that God is. It doesn't make any sense to pray. It doesn't make any sense to worry about not offending that God. I mean, are you offending because some kind of worm or ant out there didn't say hello to you? You notice the thing. Well, the distance between that God and us. There's no sin, really. It doesn't make any sense to speak of sin, given that God, if that's all the God is. The one beyond which I cannot imagine anything to encompass it. But, Hildering says, okay, that's part of divinity. The other aspect of it is the ability to be able to be contained by the smallest. He says, divinum est. And he's talking about a Trinitarian God, about a God who is love. Because a God who is absolute love, it's the most supreme. Nothing can contain it, but it is also the weakest, the smallest. Because you know the more you love someone, the more vulnerable you are. A tiny little thing, I mean, sometimes you have someone you love, you forget to say good morning, and you know, it gets ridiculous, I know. But the more you love, the more vulnerable you are. That's why we don't like it. You suddenly can be hurt so badly. Well, hey, that's you. Think of infinite love. Think of a God who is love, maximum power, since it can create out of nothing. But the other part is maximum vulnerability. And it shows it by creating and sustaining the freedom of the other, the freedom to say no. Let me tell you, I do not believe that in a non-Trinitarian God there is such a thing as human freedom. I do not think so. You see, I think in order to assert human freedom, if God is not Trinitarian, you must be an atheist, which is what I think happens in the modern age. Having forgotten the Trinitarian God and not being able to understand love anymore, you have atheist humanism. It's got a point. If the God is only that first part, how can I survive? Makes no sense. My human freedom is a joke. I survive in rebellion, in a Nietzschean way, you see. That's why he is the prophet of the age. But if God is the Trinity, then really, you're just overwhelmed by love. And you love freely because you have been loved so much. As the Lord said to the blessed Angela da Foligno one day when she just couldn't take it and was going out of control, reading of the Passion, you know. No, stop it! Saints do that. And it was just overwhelming. I mean, one more, this is enough. Suddenly she writes, she heard the Lord say, Angela, my love for you has not been a joke.